Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this video we'll be showcasing Falinks and his signature move, No Retreat. Let's get into it. I immediately switch into my Jirachi and they go into the Delibird. They go for the drill run and thankfully completely miss. I go for the Iron Head and do that big damage. They're able to connect with the drill run this time, do that big damage. I go for the Iron Head, clean up the Delibird. The next Pokemon is the Regidrago. He's able to outspeed, go for the Earthquake. Jirachi just hangs on. Able to go for the Iron Head, do barely anything. Goes for another Earthquake, takes out my Jirachi. The ace stud of my team then arrives, my Falinks. He immediately switches into the King Gambit, gets the Overlord boost. I go for the No Retreat, lock us both in and get my boost. He goes for the Terra Flying. I go for the Close Combat, do big damage with the crit, but Falinks is not done. He goes for the Kautar Cleave. I eat that right up, does barely anything. He gets some lefties back, able to go for the knockoff, take out the King Gambit. He goes back into the Regidrago. I'm able to outspeed, go for the close combat, take him out with the crit. Falinks is not messing around. He goes into the Orthworm, but then changes his mind, decides to forfeit. Good game. Alright, let's get into game 2. I start with my Shaman Sky, they start with the Passimian. He goes for that Gunk Shot, does that big damage, but Shaman just hangs on. Goes for the Air Slash, he just hangs on. I then decide to switch into my Muck. He goes for the Gunk Shot, Muck eats that right up. I try to be a little sneaky Muck, but he switches into the Spidops and eats up that Shadow Sneak. I go into my Ariados, and he decides to set up some sticky webs. He goes into the Young Lion King and does not let me eat any of my berries. I decide to set up my webs. My Floating Rock then somehow gets caught in the sticky webs, lowering my speed. He goes for the Fire Blast, eat that right up, even with the crit. He goes back into his boot-wearing Spider, avoids my webs. I go for the Power Gem, even with the super effective damage, do barely anything. He decides to set up some spikes. I go for the Power Gem, he just hangs on. I get some lefties back. He decides to set up some more spikes. I get jealous and set up some spikes of my own. Spidops gets that third layer of spikes up. I'm still very jealous, get up another layer of my own. He goes for the U-turns, I eat that right up, and then switches into the Basculin, who now has to deal with all those hazards. I fire for Power Gem, do barely anything to the fish over there. I then switch back into the Young Muck over here, expecting that big physical hit coming my way. He goes for the Wave Crash, takes me out anyway. I go back into my Spider and my boots protect me from those hazards. He goes for the Wave Crash, takes me out in one shot. Thankfully this threat finally goes down to the recoil. He then goes into the Passimian. I go back into my Shaman Sky. He gets that Defiant boost, but then thankfully goes down to the spikes. He goes into the Spiritomb, and now my Shaman is out of luck because he's always had priority. He goes for the Sucker Punch, takes out my Shaman. I go back into the Carbink, who gets hit by all those hazards again, even though he's levitating. He goes for the Terror Ghost. I go for the Moonblast, do barely anything. He goes for the Poltergeist, does a good chunk to me, but Carbink hangs on. We both eat our lefties. I fire for another Moonblast, do barely anything, but thankfully get the special attack lower. He goes for the Poltergeist, takes me out. But it's okay, because this is where the fun starts. I go into my Falinks, get that Defiant boost, take a little bit of damage from the spikes. I go for the No Retreat, get even more boost, and this time lock us both in. He tries to ruin my fun with the Will-O-Wisp, but you'll see it's too late. I take a little bit of burn damage, able to go for the knockoff, take out the Spiritomb. Falinks is not stopping here though. Take a little bit more damage from the burn and the life orb. He goes into his Iron Leaves, gets that speed lower and the spikes, doesn't matter. Go for the knockoff, take him out in one shot. Even with the burn, Falinks is still able to do a lot of damage. My opponent then forfeits. Good game. Alrighty, that's the video. Please let me know what you guys think down below and stay tuned for future content. Peace!